Transaction declined. Rent payment. Insufficient funds. I stared at my banking app. Zero balance. Yesterday I had savings. Today, I was broke. Then another notification dinged. Instagram. My mother just posted a video. I clicked it, and there they were. My parents, Gary and Linda, clinking champagne glasses in a Las Vegas penthouse suite. The caption read, "Living our best life." They didn't miss my college graduation because of an emergency. They missed it because they were too busy blowing $24,000 that they stole from me. Before I tell you exactly how they stole $24,000 without hacking a single password, and the trap I set to ensure they never spent another dime, drop a comment letting me know where you're watching from. If you've ever had to pay the price for trusting family, hit subscribe. You need to hear this. I'm a risk analyst. My entire career is built on predicting bad outcomes and preventing them. I can spot a fraudulent wire transfer from a continent away. I can audit a company's ledger and find a decimal point error that hides $1 million. But the biggest liability in my life wasn't a hidden algorithm or a shadowy hacker. It was two people named Gary and Linda. And the tool they used to rob me wasn't a piece of malware. It was a form I signed when I was 18 years old. It's called Being an Authorized User. 8 years ago, right before I left for college, my parents sat me down. They looked so concerned, so loving. They said, "Morgan, what if you get stranded? What if there's an emergency? Put us on your account just in case we need to help you." I trusted them. I thought they were my safety net. I didn't realize I was handing them the keys to my financial coffin. For 8 years, that card sat dormant. Until today. I scrolled through the transaction history on my phone, my stomach twisting into a knot. The charges weren't small. They were aggressive. $400 for a spa treatment, $600 at a steakhouse, $2,000 for VIP tickets to a magic show. They hadn't just used my card. They had maxed it out. $24,000 in less than 48 hours. That was every cent of credit I had. That was my down payment on a future. I dialed my father's number. My hands were shaking, not from fear, but from a cold, rising fury. He picked up on the second ring. I could hear the chime of slot machines and the murmur of a crowd in the background. "Gary?" I said. I didn't call him Dad. "You drained my credit card. You maxed it out." I expected a denial. I expected a panic, maybe a lie about how the card was stolen. Instead, I heard him laugh. It was a wet, heavy sound, like he'd already had a few drinks. "Morgan, relax," he said, his voice slurring slightly. "We're celebrating. Your mother and I haven't had a vacation in 10 years. Don't be so dramatic. We'll pay you back when we hit the jackpot." "You spent $24,000, I said, my voice trembling. "That is theft. That is a felony. It's not theft if our names are on the card, sweetheart." My mother's voice chimed in. She must have been leaning over his shoulder. "Besides, think of it as back pay. We raised you. We fed you. We put a roof over your head for 18 years. You owe us a little fun." I stared at the phone. Back pay? They were billing me for my own childhood. You might be asking yourself why I didn't cut them off years ago. Why did I keep that card active? It's something psychologists call the sunk cost fallacy of bloodlines. It's the same logic that keeps a gambler at a slot machine. You've put so much in, so much love, so much patience, so much hope that you feel like you can't walk away. Because if you do, you lose everything you've invested. You keep pulling the lever, hoping that this time they'll finally be the parents you deserve. You tell yourself that their love is just one spin away. But looking at that bank statement, seeing the evidence of their gluttony while I stood in a rented cap and gown with an eviction notice looming, the illusion finally shattered. I wasn't their daughter. I was their retirement plan. I was an investment vehicle. They were finally cashing out. "I need that money back," I said, my voice steadying now. "Or I go to the police." Oh, grow up, Gary snapped, the laughter gone. We don't have the cash. We're illiquid right now. But we have a solution. Stop crying about your credit score and listen. We have a way to fix this. But you're going to have to do exactly what we say. What solution? I asked. The air in the room felt thin, like all the oxygen had been sucked out. Your grandmother, Gary said. She's sitting on a pile of cash in that trust fund. Millions, Morgan. And she's barely lucid half the time. It's just sitting there waiting for the state to take it when she kicks the bucket. Grandma is in hospice, I said, my voice ice cold. She is dying. Exactly, Linda interrupted, her voice chirpy, as if she were suggesting a new restaurant. She won't need it much longer. But here's the problem. She's stubborn. She won't release a dime to us. She thinks we're irresponsible. Can you believe that? But she loves you, Morgan. You're the golden grandchild. The one who went to college. The one with the shiny corporate job. Get to the point, I said. The point is, Gary said, his tone sharpening, she'll listen to you. We need you to go see her. Cry a little. Tell her you found a house, a nice starter home with a white picket fence, but you're short on the down payment. Tell her you need $50,000. She'll write the check to you. You cash it, transfer the money to us, and we pay off your credit card. We keep the rest as a finder's fee. Everyone wins. I felt bile rise in my throat. They weren't just thieves. They were vultures circling a dying woman. They wanted me to look my grandmother in the eye, the woman who had slipped me $20 bills for books when my parents claimed they were broke, and lie to her on her deathbed. No, I said. I am not defrauding a dying woman to fund your gambling habit. You find another way to pay me back. There is no other way. Gary shouted, the facade cracking. We don't have the money, Morgan. It's gone. The casinos, the hotel, the dinners. It's spent. We are tapped out. Then sell the car, I shot back. Sell the boat you haven't used in 3 years. I don't care. Fix it. You're not listening, he said, his voice dropping to a low, menacing register. If we don't pay that bill by the end of the month, do you know what happens to your credit score? It tanks. It drops like a stone. And what happens to a senior risk analyst with a delinquency on her record? What happens when your firm runs its annual background check and sees you can't even manage your own debt? I froze. He knew. He knew exactly how my industry worked. In the world of high finance risk assessment, personal financial liability is a fireable offense. If I looked like a credit risk, I was a security risk. You lose your job, Linda said softly. You lose your apartment. You lose that fancy new life you think you're so much better than, unless you help us. It wasn't a request. It was a hostage negotiation. They were holding my entire career at gunpoint. Fingers on the trigger, smiling like they were doing me a favor. So that's the deal, I asked, my voice devoid of emotion. I help you rob Grandma, or you ruin my life. We're helping you save your life, Gary corrected. Think about it. We'll be in Chicago on Sunday. We can have a nice family dinner. Go over the details and make sure you get your story straight before you see her. Don't be stupid, Morgan. Family helps family. The line went dead. I lowered the phone. I didn't scream. I didn't throw it against the wall. I walked over to my desk, opened my laptop, and pulled up my bank statement again. Negative balance, pending charges. The numbers stared back at me, red and angry. They thought they had me cornered. They thought I was the scared 18-year-old girl who just wanted their approval. They forgot what I do for a living. I assess threats. I calculate exposure. And when I find a liability that cannot be mitigated, I eliminate it. I wasn't going to let them ruin me. And I wasn't going to let them touch my grandmother. I picked up my phone and dialed a number I hadn't used in years. It rang once, twice, 3 times. Lawyer Sterling, a gruff voice answered. Mr. Sterling, I said. This is Morgan. We need to talk about my parents, and we need to talk about my grandmother's trust. I called Gary back 10 minutes later. My voice wasn't shaking anymore. It was flat, hollowed out, the voice of a daughter who had finally been broken. Fine, I said. I'll do it, but I'm not going in blind. We need to meet for dinner. I need to know exactly what to say to her, word for word. If I mess this up, we all lose. That's my girl, Gary purred. The smugness in his voice made my skin crawl. I knew you'd come to your senses. We'll be in Chicago on Sunday. I booked a private room at the Vault. Steak and wine. We'll celebrate our future. He thought he had won. He thought he had bullied me into submission. He didn't realize he had just scheduled his own arraignment. I hung up and drove straight to Mr. Sterling's office. Sterling wasn't a fancy corporate lawyer with a glass office. He was an estate attorney who worked out of a brownstone that smelled like old paper and pipe tobacco. He had managed my grandmother's affairs for 30 years. He looked at me over his spectacles, his face etched with deep lines of concern. They want you to do what? He asked, his voice low and dangerous. They want me to trick her, I said. They want me to tell her I'm buying a house, so she'll sign a disbursement check. They're going to take the money to pay off their debts and keep the rest, and they threaten to destroy my career if I don't help them. Sterling stood up and walked to the window. When he turned back, he wasn't looking at me like a lawyer. He was looking at me like a prosecutor. Morgan, there's something you need to know, he said. I'm not just the executive of the estate. 2 months ago, when your grandmother's health declined, the court appointed me as her guardian ad litem. Do you know what that means? I shook my head. It means I am legally responsible for protecting her from exploitation, he said. It also means I am a mandatory reporter. If I have evidence, credible evidence, that someone is conspiring to financially abuse a vulnerable senior, I don't just have the option to call the police. I am required by federal law to do it. I don't have evidence yet, I said. Just a phone call. It's their word against mine. Then we get the evidence, Sterling said. He opened his desk drawer and pulled out a digital recorder, then hesitated. No, that's too risky. If they find a wire, they'll destroy it. We need something they can't break. I have a better idea, I said. I pulled out my phone and my AirPods Pro. I showed him the settings. Transparency mode, I explained. It uses the microphones on the outside of the earbuds to amplify the sound in the room, so the wearer can hear, but it also transmits that audio back to the phone. If I'm on a call, the person on the other end hears everything in the room as clearly as I do. And the recording? Sterling asked. I won't record it on the phone, I said. I'll set up a live stream to a secure cloud server. The moment the audio is captured, it's uploaded instantly. Even if they smash the phone, even if they throw it in the river, the file exists the second it happens. Sterling nodded slowly. A grim smile touched his lips. I'll be on the other end of that call, Morgan. I'll be listening. The very second they confirm their intent to defraud her or harm her care, I will intervene, and I will bring the full weight of the state of Illinois down on them. Sunday night arrived. I dressed carefully, a modest blouse, hair down. I needed to look like the good, obedient daughter. I needed to look like the victim they wanted me to be. I placed the left AirPod in my ear and let my hair fall over it, completely concealing the white plastic. I tapped the screen. CloudSync active. Call connected. Sterling, I'm here. Sterling's voice whispered in my ear, crystal clear. I'm listening. Go get them. I took a breath, smoothed my skirt, and walked into the vault. The private dining room at the Vault smelled of aged leather and truffle oil. It was a soundproof glass box designed for backroom deals and illicit affairs. Tonight, it was the stage for a confession. Gary sat at the head of the table, scanning the wine list like a king surveying his domain. He ordered a bottle of Cabernet that cost more than my first car. Linda was busy adjusting her diamond earrings in the reflection of her spoon. They looked comfortable, They looked like people who had gotten away with it. I took my seat. The AirPod in my left ear hummed with a faint static, the sound of Lawyer Sterling breathing on the other end of the line. "I'm sorry," I said. The words tasted like ash. I overreacted about the credit card. I was just stressed about work. You guys are right. Family helps family. Gary slammed the menu shut and grinned. It was the smile of a predator who sees the prey expose its throat. "I knew you'd come around, Morgan," he said, reaching across the table to pat my hand. His palm was damp. "You're a smart girl. You know how the world works. You scratch our back. We keep your little secret from your boss." "Exactly," Linda chimed in. "We're doing this for you." "Really?" "To protect your future." I poured the wine. My hand didn't shake. I watched the dark red liquid fill their glasses, thinking about the poison I was about to serve them. There is a specific kind of agony in feigning submission to the people who abuse you. It's not just lying. It's a physical contortion. You have to shrink. You have to soften your eyes when you want to glare. Unclench your jaw when you want to scream. You have to smile while every instinct in your body is screaming run. I raised my glass. "To the plan," I said. "To the legacy," Gary corrected, clinking his glass against mine. He took a long drink, wiping his mouth with a linen napkin. "All right, let's get the story straight. Tomorrow we go to the hospice center. You go in alone. You're crying. You tell her you found the perfect house, but the seller needs cash now. You tell her it's a distress sale, a once-in-a-lifetime deal." "And the check?" I asked. "She writes it to you directly." "To you," Linda said. "Ask for 50, 60 if you can. Once it clears, wire 50 to us to cover the debt. Keep the rest, your commission." I needed them on record. "But what about Grandma?" I asked carefully. "If the trust drains, they'll kick her out of hospice." Gary laughed, slicing into his steak. "That place is bleeding us dry. $5,000 a month for Jell-O and a parking lot view. We're stopping the bleeding." "Where will she go?" "State facility on 9th, he said flatly. "It's free. She's 89. She won't know the difference, so we dump her." "We protect the legacy for the living," Gary snapped. "That money is ours." "Did you get that?" I whispered. Gary frowned. "What?" I removed the AirPod and set it on the table. I switched my phone to speaker. "I got it," a voice said calmly, loud and clear. Gary went pale. "This is Thomas Sterling," the voice continued. "Court-appointed guardian ad litem for your mother. You've just confessed to elder abuse, wire fraud, and grand larceny. Police are en route. Your assets are frozen." Gary grabbed my phone and smashed it against the wall. Silence. Then he locked the door. He picked up his steak knife. This is what psychologists call an extinction burst. The moment a narcissist realizes control is gone and escalates to violence. "You think a recording matters if you're not alive to testify," he hissed. He lunged. I backed away, grabbed a wine bottle, smashed it, and raised the jagged glass. "You're already done, Gary. The recording is in the cloud." He charged. The door exploded inward. 2 waiters tackled him. The knife skidded across the floor. Sirens followed. At the precinct, Sterling confirmed the charges: aggravated assault, elder abuse, conspiracy, wire fraud. Bail set high. Then came the problem: my debt. My parents' assets were frozen. I was safe, but financially trapped. Sterling handed me a check from the estate trust. "Emergency bridge loan. You saved the estate millions. This covers your liabilities. The exact amount." The next morning, I held my grandmother's hand at hospice. "They can't hurt you anymore." She stirred. Later, I paid off the card and removed 2 names from my account: Gary Moore, Linda Moore. No hesitation. Cutting off toxic family isn't cruelty. It's self-defense. If you're holding on because of blood alone, this is your sign to let go.